Hi, I'm Nigel Ridpath from Cowry Solutions, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Carsten Wulff, who's Vice President at one of our partners, LS Retail. So good afternoon, Carsten.
Good afternoon, Nigel.
To kick off, by way of introduction, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to date with LS Retail?
Right. I'm working out of Denmark, though the company is from Iceland. Back in the 90s, I worked in a Danish company called Navision Software,
Right.
which was the original developer of the product, which is known today as Microsoft Dynamics for Business Central.
Yeah.
In my role at Navision, I met some very entrepreneurial Icelanders. I call them Vikings, who had a product which they called retail back office, and they wanted Navision to kind of certify this to be sold through the Navision channel worldwide. So we went through a lot of certification criteria, and in the end it was certified as the first worldwide ISV product from Navision.
Right.
And after having worked with these people for 2 years, I found them very inspiring. So in 98, in the fall of 98, I left Navision Software and joined LS Retail. And if we make a very, very long story relatively short, the product was certified, it was rolled out. We soon discovered that it was a challenge that we didn't have a POS.
Right.
So in 2002, 2003, we developed the world's first POS solution within the Navision development framework, within the Navision accounting solution. And from there, it became much easier and much more attractive for third-party partners to sell and install it.
Okay. And this was before Microsoft bought Navision?
This was right before, yes.
Right. Okay. Because Microsoft had a retail solution as well, didn't they, in RMS?
Yes, but at that time it was more or less only a retail solution which was sold in the US, and I believe also in UK. It wasn't something we saw on the mainland Europe market or elsewhere.
Right.
But of course it was a large advantage for us that Navision was acquired by Microsoft, because it was quite a story to tell a potential customer that the product was developed in Denmark and we were coming from Iceland. I never forget, I had to explain this to IKEA in Singapore. And I can assure you, Nigel, it was not an easy sell to tell them to buy an accounting system from Denmark. They didn't really know where it was. And they certainly did not know where Iceland was. So it became much more easier to say afterwards that it was a solution built on Microsoft technology.
And tell us about a little bit about your role today.
My role today have somehow changed. We spent like 10, 15 years building up a network, a global network of partners. Today we are like 360. So back in 2013-14, we decided we must be closer to the markets. So we decided to divide the responsibilities into 3 or 4 regions: Asia Pacific, Middle East Africa, Europe, and the Americas.
Right.
And I'm now responsible for our operations in Europe. That includes selling, cooperation with partners like Cowry, and also I'm the head of consulting services. So pretty much the connection between the LS Retail head office, partners and customers.
I think it appears to me that things have changed a lot for LS Retail in the last couple of years, and the organisation's been talking a lot about the Evergreen train. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes. Our problem is that our products are too good. People don't want to upgrade them. I usually compare this a bit with the Nokia phones.
Yeah.
10 years ago, everybody had a Nokia phone. It did exactly what we expected. Batteries would last for 10, 14 days. There was never, ever anything wrong with them. But of course, today you have different needs.
Yeah.
And this is the same with retail software. We produced a fantastic version, the LS-NAV 2009. But of course, things has changed a lot ever since. And you can say the requirements for retailers to change have also increased in terms of magnitude and in terms of how often you need to change.
Yeah.
I guess the last 2-3 years, more has happened in retail than the previous 20 years. So the ability to upgrade and adjust to changes in consumer trends in the market. Suddenly we have Amazon here in Europe changing, especially specialty retail forever, has made it necessary to be able to upgrade in a fast and efficient way. With the release of a new Microsoft platform, the Microsoft Business Central, gave us the opportunity to do current updates.
Yeah.
I can give you an example. 5 years ago, it took us 1 or 2 calendar years to do a new version.
Right.
Which means it was like somewhere between 30 to 50 man years. Today, we release a new version every month.
Right.
But it doesn't help if you cannot upgrade. So the new solution has been developed in a way that you can easily upgrade. Actually, you can sign up to be automatically upgraded if you want to. And this is what we call the Evergreen train. If you get into the latest version of LS Retail, you will automatically be updated at certain intervals, and it doesn't matter if you are on SaaS, software as a service, or you are doing this on premise, because we're using the same code basis for both type of products. So the Evergreen train allows you to be on the latest version without going through very resource demanding upgrades.
Mm-hmm. And is it true to say that in the past, before the Evergreen train, that even after you'd put 30 to 50 man years into developing a new solution, it was still pretty hard to get people to take that upgrade?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was, because over the years, if you have stayed on an old version, you had a lot of bespoke functionality developed.
Yeah.
And that bespoke functionality is relatively complicated to upgrade. So we were looking into upgrade projects of several £100,000, and the result of those were you pretty much had what we now has as a new standard.
Yeah.
So you could say if you make the investment of going into the Business Central version, then you will no longer need to take out time and money to do so.
So do you see this concept of the Evergreen train and the way you've gone about it as addressing parts of the market that you previously couldn't reach?
Yes. we can well, first of all, we can upgrade a lot of our customers. We have about, I think, 2,800 Business Central customers on various versions in Europe. We can assist them in a much more efficient way than before, and we can also bring this concept to smaller retail organizations who typically do not have a large IT department which can manage an upgrade.
Yeah, and I think this is the interesting thing about how Cowry got involved with LS Retail at this point. We tend to deal with that smaller end of the market. Our customers typically don't have IT teams at all, and we have found that the customers in that sector just expect cloud, and they are used to the kind of Office 365 cycle where things just get upgraded all the time, and there is no server to manage, there is no software to update or even bespoking. So the timing was very good from our perspective to to build the partnership at this moment, and we're seeing organizations that I think probably wouldn't have considered LS Retail in the past coming on board with us as customers.
Yes, I talked to a supermarket chain in Denmark a while ago, and of course you need to look into different ways of comparing total cost of ownership. But they also had a very interesting comment. Their head office is not close to any major large city. So they say by going on SaaS and by having this hosted in the Microsoft cloud, is a huge relief for us, because we cannot get professional IT people or system managers, database managers, hardware experts out where our head office is. So it's a comparative advantage for them to have access to all of this from a partner and from the managers of the Microsoft cloud.
Moving away from the technology just slightly and thinking about retail more generally, I mean, you mentioned earlier that in your view, and I think it's a widely held view, retail has changed more quickly in the last few years than it ever has done before. And of course, the last 6 or 7 months have changed things at a pace in the retail sector that we've never seen before. When we come out to the other side of this pandemic, what lasting changes do you think we'll see?
Well, I think we will see some of the trends which were before will be even stronger. The move towards e-commerce will be stronger, but it will also, I think, the last months and I would say especially March, April, and beginning of May have taught us that we cannot take it for granted that we can trade out of a store or restaurant, out of a physical location. So both food service companies and retailers must have a plan B available, and that plan B can of course be e-commerce. So you need to be able to complement your stores with e-commerce. We will probably also see for a long time that people will be focused a lot about security, or you could say health security, so to speak, which means an increased focus on e-commerce, on click and collect, and also what we call curbside delivery. I mean, you order something out of the store and you pick it up outside, so you don't need to go into the store. You will not be face to face with any store associates. So that will be fast, that will be safe. And therefore you also need to have contactless payments. So of course you can pay with credit cards, but there will be all sorts of mobile pay, etc., which you need to do. In the area of supermarkets and groceries, we will most likely see a lot of delivery. You could say we are going back to some of the old virtues, right? The grocer himself take goods out to some people who don't, for some reason, want to go into the store. But we will also see enhanced effect of self-service, perhaps in the way of Scan Pay Go, which means that you don't need to get close to a store associate. You don't need to share the card terminals with a lot of other people. It's basically just a matter of control. I don't know if you have seen it, Nigel, but we have some people in the development department playing around with various ways of doing Scan Pay Go solutions. So it's definitely possible with apps on your own device. Which seems to be the preferred way of doing it in Northern Europe. In Southern Europe, they are still, or they are very focused on the store giving you scanning devices.
Right. Okay.
So you don't need to download an app. Everything is prepared for you to do your scanning. So much less contact in the future.
I mean, even in the 1 and 2 store grocery customers that we've seen them collaborating with the likes of Deliveroo and Uber Eats. So they're delicatessens and whatever that you associate these things with McDonald's and pizza stores and fried chicken places, but actually people are ordering a bottle of wine, some sourdough bread, and some nice pate and cheese, and having that delivered through those routes as well. So and these aren't big organizations. These are kind of two store independents, and they're already beginning to think in that way. Moving kind of back towards the technology a little bit, we found that the fact that LS Retail sits on top of the Business Central ERP is its biggest competitive advantages when you come to smaller retailers. I guess that's a message that LS Retail have traded on for a very long time. But do you think it continues to be a key message for you?
We found out of this back in 2003, 4, 5 or something like that now we actually had an end-to-end solution from the point of sale through store backend, chain management, head office, inventory, accounting, etc. So really an end-to-end. And we looked around and we found out that very few solutions could offer this. Of course, SAP can offer that; they can offer everything. But this would be, much larger. This would be much more expensive. So, in the market where small to medium-sized retailers operate, they would certainly find an affordable solution who could do that. Ever since we have tried to find new main competitive advantages for this, omni retail, etc. And then Nigel, you and Cowry came on board and said, well, the largest advantage is this is an end-to-end with ERP on top. And I said, yes, that seems to be the eternal advantage of LS Retail. So I think it is correct. It will stay there because we can eliminate a lot of integrations. Integrations cost money and it is expensive to maintain, and it creates uncertainty in the organization.
So our time is nearly up. So I just want to pose one final question to you, and it's looking into the future a little bit. What do you think LS Retail will look like in 3 years' time?
I think we will be larger. Actually, we are now 230 people. We are spending like 4 to 5 million pounds in research and development every year. And on top of that, we have now started to develop new products for another platform, also for the ERP area. So we will expand in terms of functionality and scalability. But if we look at the most of the strongest force or trend, we will be going more and more into software as a service. I can give you one example. We just had an hour ago a virtual staff meeting over Teams, and our CEO said at this time last year, when we look at the pipeline for 2020, we had 5% of the pipeline focusing on software as a service or subscription. When we look at 21, it is so far 30%.
Right.
And we expect this trend to accelerate even in the next few months.
Right. Okay. Well, that's certainly good to hear from our perspective. As you know, Cowry is 100% cloud. We're born in the cloud organization, and so we personally feel that there's a great fit there, and we hope that that's going to continue for a very long time. Carsten, thank you very much for taking time out of your day this afternoon for this episode of our Fireside Chats. It's been great catching up with you, and I hope to be able to do a Fireside Chat with you in person maybe sometime in 2021.
Hopefully. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to continue to work with you guys.
All right. Thanks very much, Carsten.
Thank you.